I'm working with a document called Seattle.jpg, which is available inside your exercise files folder. What we want to talk about in this video is how you can go about optimizing an image, a photograph, as a JPEG. Now, earlier I mentioned that if you are going to be working with photographs, JPEGs will give you the best possible quality, but it will also give you that quality at a low file size. You could save this image as a PNG and get really good quality, but the file size will be really big. So you want to avoid that, and you want to use JPEG when working with photographs. Now, if you use Photoshop already, you're probably creating JPEGs by coming up to the File menu and choosing Save As. Within the Save As dialog box, you're probably then selecting JPEG from the Save As type menu. This will save a JPEG, but it won't give you the best possible results. For the best possible results, you should be using the Save for Web dialog box. It gives you the ability to experiment with different JPEG settings to give you the best possible quality at the lowest possible file size. So what I'd like you to do is come up to the File menu, and from the File menu, you can choose Save for Web. This will open up the Save for Web dialog box. You want to make sure that JPEG is selected from the Optimize File Format menu. In this particular situation, I want to leave the original dimensions of the image inside of Photoshop. I don't want to change the image dimensions, but I want this image to be a little bit smaller. In order for us to make it a little bit smaller, we can come over to the image size controls here. I'm going to go ahead and type in 500 for the width, and you want to make sure that this little chain link icon is selected. If it is, when you change the width, the height will also be changed with it. Now, you also want to keep an eye on the file size over here, because once you tab away from the width text field, not only does the image get smaller, but you'll notice that the file size is quite a bit smaller. For whatever reason right now, it's displaying this as a GIF. I'm just going to come over here and choose JPEG again, and then I'm going to change this to a very high setting. And you'll notice it's still stuck at GIF. That's delightful. Let's come over to the 4-up view, and it does change to JPEG, which is helpful. If you come back to the Optimize view, it's now updated to show JPEG. That typically doesn't happen. It's a little bit of a glitch right here, but if you experience it, that's how you solve it. At a quality setting of 80, the image looks really good, and the file size isn't too bad. It's probably larger than what I'd like it to be, though. So you should come over to the 4-up view. And the reason for that is you'll see the original image, then you'll see that image set to JPEG compression using a quality value of 80, but down here towards the bottom we're seeing the image set to JPEG with a quality setting of 40. And then we have another here with a quality setting of 20. Now I do see some JPEG artifacting happening within these images down here towards the bottom, especially in the darker areas. I really think that we'd get good results somewhere between a quality setting of 80 and 40. So what we can do is customize what we're looking at over here on the right. We can change the quality setting. We can drag this slider to the right. We could also punch in a value here. What I'd like to do is see the quality between 80 and 40. So somewhere in the 60s is probably a good bet. And if we look at it, it looks really good, and the file size is pretty acceptable. If you do see some JPEG artifacting, you can blur the image ever so slightly by dragging this slider, and you'll notice that the image gets a little bit blurrier, but it blurs out that artifacting. We don't really need it in this case, and it may be difficult for you to see any JPEG compression happening within these images because the video that you're watching is also compressed. So if you're following along on your own machines, you certainly should be able to see what's happening at a lower quality setting for this image. You'll also notice we have some other options. We can make this a progressive JPEG, which means a very low quality will load in first to the browser, and then it will progressively get better. You don't want to embed a color profile because you want to convert this to sRGB, giving you the best chance of it appearing the way that you want it to appear on a variety of monitors. And you want the preview to be set to Internet Standard RGB. There is a matte option here, but it doesn't really matter because we're not working with transparency. Remember, JPEG doesn't support transparency. But once you're happy, you can come down and click Save. And once you click Save, it opens up a dialog box where you can save this image. I'll go ahead and save it on the desktop, and we've just optimized this image as a JPEG. Of course, there's other formats. There's PNG and there's GIF, and we'll take a look at those in the next couple videos.